Hello.
Hi there, Robin.
How is everything in where you are?
It's good, thank you. Yeah, I've just got back to Hong Kong. I've been in the UK for the last couple of months, but I came back yesterday to attend to, or a couple of days ago to attend to a few things. But I'm on now, I think, day 3 of quarantine, so I'm tagged up so that everybody can keep their watchful eye on me. But I'm well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. We're here in Taipei Dangdai Towers in Taipei. It's been pretty normal. We have a nice sunny day for once, which is a good change. I imagine everybody's going to be out over the long weekend. All right.
So do you want to start?
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
First of all, a note on language. We're going to be, I think, bouncing back and forth a bit between English and Chinese. At the beginning, we'll talk a little bit more generally about how to use the platform in both English and Chinese. And then when we talk a little bit more about highlights, we'll maybe choose one or the other. 所以首先要欢迎大家跟我们一起上线，希望大家现在这个疫情期间还是身心平安，家里都没有什么大事情。我是台北当代的联合总监岳鸿飞，今天欢迎我的同事 Magnus， 也是联合总监，也是博览会的创始人之一。我们今天上线是邀请了一些媒体朋友啊，还有我们一些博览会身边的朋友啊、贵宾、收藏家来了解一下 Taipei Connections 这个平台为什么要做这个事情然后可以怎么样去用。So Magnus, would you like to begin by introducing yourself and Taipei Dangdai in general?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So first of all, for those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Magnus Renfrew. I am the co-founder and co-director of Taipei Dangdai. Taipei Dangdai is an art fair that takes place in Taipei each January. We've had our second edition in January just passed, which went extremely well. Taipei Dangdai is an art fair that wants to have sort of an Asia specificity, but also to attract some of the very best galleries from elsewhere in the world to participate, who have a commitment to Asia, either through having an on-the-ground presence or through the artists that they represent and programming. Last January, we had 99 galleries participating. And the work that's on view at the fair for the 4.5 days is available for sale. An art fair is primarily about selling, but it's also an opportunity for people to come and engage with art and to learn about art for the first time. And it's also a place for the exchange of ideas. And the strapline for Taipei Dangdai is art and ideas. And we very much hope that we're going to be able to foster discussions and interactions throughout the year. For the first year of the fair, we only had the talks program during the fair itself. And under Robin's co-directorship this year, we have expanded and extended that so that we have talks in the lead up to the fair. And our hope is that we're going to be able to have more and more interactions really throughout the year to help foster these connections.
Thank you，非常感谢这个。刚才 Magnus 就介绍了几个重点，其中一个就是台北当代的这个亚洲在核心的这个价值观。这个我们等一下会看一些画廊所带来的作品，也会讲的更多。然后第二就是我们作为博览会会认为这个不只是一个市场为主的活动，我们同样是在推出一些演讲论坛方面的学术研究 这个等一下我们也会详细介绍。Next, Magnus, I'd like to hear about what made this possible. Could you introduce how we put Taipei Connections together in terms of our partnerships and backers on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has come together really in quite a short space of time, from the initial idea to today's launch. I think has been a month in the making. We're very grateful to our sponsor, UBS, lead sponsor and founding and lead partner. But we've also had, for this particular project, we've had a lot of support in terms of marketing from a number of partners that I'd just like to acknowledge here. Taiwan Tatler, Point, Freedom Men Art Apartments, Sin Trend, and Gilu. And we're also very grateful to Ocular for their part in this collaboration. They've been a great partner to work with and have been very supportive and very involved in this whole process. So we're very grateful to them as well. I think also we're grateful for the active participation of a number of different organizations who've been really participating with their clients in some of the activations. And those include UBS, Little Art, and the EMBA program at NTU, who are coordinating some discussions directly with us and for us to help walk them through the process of engaging with the art on view.
Yeah, so these initiatives I think are particularly exciting. It's something that we're experimenting with this time. 我们是邀请了许多台湾的本地的收藏家的群体让他们给他们提供一些专场他们会指定几家画廊，然后他们会员都会同时上线，然后可以自己内部聊天，就见一些老朋友同时也认识一些画廊的老板和总监。All right, I see we've got our screen sharing coming up now. So we talked a little bit about what's Taipei Dangdai, but Magnus, could you tell us from your perspective, what is Taipei Connections? What is making this unique out of all of the other things that people could be doing online with art this week? And why are we launching it now at the end of April?
Well, Robin, feel free to jump in at any point as well with your thoughts on this. But the whole thing really started with the rise of the coronavirus just after this year's edition of Taipei Dangdai. We understand that a lot of the opportunities to continue conversations in different places after the fair are not possible at the moment. And so we wanted to try and create a moment and an opportunity and a focal point for galleries to be able to get in touch with their collectors in Taiwan, and also to showcase the best that Taiwan has to offer to an international audience as well. So we really wanted to try and make these connections in both directions. We see it very much as a conversation starter. It's not primarily a sales platform, although we very much hope that some of these conversations do conclude in business being done. And it's worth pointing out that the online platform element of Taipei Connections, all of the work that is on there is for sale. Taipei Connections is not just the platform, however, it's also some activations that are going to be taking place throughout the duration of Taipei Connections. And Robin, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the activations and so on.
Yeah, I'd love to. So when we say activations, we're mostly talking about things like this, kind of live stream events where we have the Taipei Connections web platform, and we're kind of adding another layer of face-to-face interaction above that. For me, that's really the key of how we want Taipei Connections to function, that it really should be a way to do one-to-one connections and one-to-few connections, rather than saying, here's an art fair that we're throwing up online, let whoever make of it what they will. And I think that drive kind of comes from, like you said, connections, that we're trying to get people to continue conversations that started at the fair or would have taken place at the fair, rather than kind of trying to make a hard sales push. At the same time, it's also about Taipei. It's Taipei Dangdai and it's Taipei Connections. And I feel like Taipei is a place that's then kind of can feel isolated from parts of the art world, even at the best of times, much less at a time like this when travel is so restricted. And so to kind of give people this opportunity to be able to see each other, at least online, and connect in a real way is really exciting. So Joyce, could you pull up our live stream calendar? So here what we're looking at is the Taipei Dangdai website, the Taipei Connections page. As you can see right now, you're on the first of these events. And then beginning from tomorrow, we take a break for the VIP preview. Then from Saturday, there's 1 or 2 things happening every day through to the end of Connections. We started these because Taipei is actually in a really good place right now. The schools are open, in fact, never closed except for a few extra days of holiday at the end of Chinese New Year. The offices are open, public transport is open, restaurants and bars are open. So life kind of goes on in Taipei as it's not able to in, I think, most parts of the world. And so we feel really lucky to be where we are right now, and we want to show that off. So we started by saying, let's go visit a couple of museum exhibitions that are up. Let's go visit a couple gallery exhibitions. We have a really fantastic slate of gallery exhibitions that are happening now. And then we said, well, let's go a little bit further and do some studio visits too. It was interesting. We have a Wu Zitong studio visit, one of Taiwan's best known contemporary artists, planned for Monday evening. So we should be able to get a little bit of American time zones and a little bit of Asian time zones on that one. That's fun for us because both of his galleries are not in Taipei and are not able to come to Taipei now. So we can kind of play the role of helping to moderate that and letting him be a part of this digital platform. I don't want to pick out anything else for highlights because there are so many interesting things happening. There's a lot of really great shows on. I'd encourage people to tune in on any of those that involve gallery walkthroughs. It's also really nice to be able to use this technology to connect people in different places. So we have one talk, for instance, where we're getting an artist in China to speak with a gallery director in London and another artist in Taipei, another artist in Beijing, I think. So that's really cool. I think that we can get everybody online. They can see their work over video, more or less in person, and be able to share their thoughts. So I think that's where kind of the art and ideas part of Taipei Dangdai gets to continue into Taipei Connections.
Can you tell us a little bit about the tour of the Taipei Fine Art Museum?
Yeah, the Taipei Fine Arts Museum has a fantastic exhibition up of Renfrew, who has done a series of work related to Taipei and the urbanism of the city, which is really interesting. It also has a full suite, almost a whole gallery of 1-minute sculptures that are activated on a regular basis throughout the day. It's funny because neither the artist, nor the curator, nor the gallery was able to come to Taipei for the opening of the exhibition because of the way travel restrictions played out on the calendar. So we're getting all of them online at the same time. We have the artist, we have the curator, Jerome, and we have the gallery in Hong Kong, Liman Mapen. So they'll all be kind of seeing the show through our eyes, and we'll be live streaming the activations of the 1-minute sculptures with the team at the museum. I think that'll be a really exciting one.
That sounds great. You mentioned a bit about how things are, sort of life has returned to relative normality in Taipei. I mean, it'd be good if you could just tell us a little bit about what the current situation is. I know you've mentioned about the schools, but I think that Taiwan has done pretty well in terms of how it's handled the virus so far. Just be great. I think there are no new infections today or something. Is that correct?
Great. I think today was the 4th or 5th day in the row we've had no new infections, no new confirmed diagnoses, and that's really exciting. But I think it's a really interesting combination in Taiwan. It's kind of a trust in government and a very active media that kind of put this on everyone's radar quite early. And made the government response and the civic response a really strong one. That's also allowed most of the galleries to continue doing business. A lot of exhibitions have been opening. There's a limit right now on 100 people in any indoor venue. So if exhibition starts getting crowded, there are no kind of big openings happening. If something starts getting crowded, you have to book online or wait in a very long, socially distanced line outside. So people are kind of playing it safe, but also art is able to continue. One time I went to an exhibition opening and they even gave me an artist-designed face mask. That was really nice.
Ah. Very good. Well, do you want to walk us through how the platform works, just the sort of the functionality?
Yeah, let's do it. So I assume everyone who's online here has already logged in. If not, I encourage you to go back to your inbox now and click through and make sure you've signed up and registered. If there are any questions, by the way, in this process, please just send them over with the Q&A function at the bottom, and we will respond to those either immediately or during a Q&A session, as the case may be. Kind of live tech support from Taipei and Hong Kong. So we're looking at the main page right now. This is what you see when you come in. The order of the galleries you're looking at is randomly refreshed every 30 minutes. So if you really want to go through systematically and knock it off gallery by gallery, I would encourage you to have the order sorted by alphabetical order. That way you don't lose your place. Otherwise you'll look at 10 and you might get refreshed and become frustrated. We have 82 galleries online as of today out of the 99 who were invited to participate, and they really span Taiwan, the rest of Asia, and the West. We also have a kind of fantastic selection of more traditional leaning work, very young and fresh work. There's a lot to look at no matter what you're looking for. So let's just take one of these pages and click in and see how it works. Why don't you do Blue Lotus on the right side here. So now we're in this galleries page. We're going to scroll down. You're going to read an introduction to the project here. Blue Lotus is brought Fan Ho, who they also had at Taipei Dangdai. Incredible work. You're going to see the works below that, interspersed with some text and contextual information. Many galleries have included videos, which is really interesting to see. Why don't you click that photograph on the left there? That's my favorite. I love this piece. I love those kind of weird size configurations that he was using, the super long ones. All right, so now we're looking at the work detail page. There's a number of things that you can do on this page. On the right side, you can add to favorites, which is useful once you've logged in. You can save that and come back to it later. That's how I've organized all of my online tours for this week. You can view to scale, which is a really useful function. Can we click through to that? And you realize that's actually quite small work. And then back out of that view. And then the core functionality of Taipei Connections is, of course, connecting. So we're going to click to connect. When we click to connect, you're going to have this basic contact form. I think right now and through tomorrow, people are generally online constantly, so this should be pretty instantaneous. I know I've got a couple galleries who have said they're fielding inquiries. I think we have one sale already that someone was texting me about, which is nice. So you're going to enter your name, you're going to enter your email, and you're going to enter your city. And then you're going to enter your inquiry. Rather than having this be a strict sales inquiry, we'd like this to really just be about connecting, and we would encourage you to send in whatever is interesting. We really want this to be about creating conversations and finishing conversations, rather than to be just a, can I buy this, how much is it sort of situation. So it's very open-ended. You need to agree to the terms and conditions there, and then you can send off your inquiry. It's pretty straightforward.
Great, thank you. So I don't know if there are any media that would have any questions at this stage. We're very happy to take questions. There will be also the opportunity to, as Robin mentioned, to post questions during throughout this stream, and we can answer them either as they come up or at the end as well. So do we have any questions?
Okay, I've got a question here. Someone is asking, is there work for sale? Yes. Although it is about connecting, but much of the work, I'd say virtually all of the work is for sale. It is an art fair. Things can be purchased. And following up on that, no clicking to connect does not mean that you're making an offer on the work or buying the work. It's not like the buy it now button on eBay. It opens up a conversation with the gallery, and then you go from there. That's essentially between the gallery and the collector. Neither Ocula nor Taipei Dangdai are kind of in an intermediate position in that conversation. Okay, I've got a couple questions coming in now. Is all of the art in Taipei? No. Along with travel restrictions, there are obviously also a lot of cargo shipping restrictions right now. And one of the benefits of doing it like this with the online platform is that the art doesn't need to come to a particular place. So typically the art will be where the gallery is, but in some cases I imagine it's also in the artist's studio and may never have been shipped to the gallery. So that's something to raise in conversations with the galleries. All right, and there's one more question. Why do some works have prices and some do not? Magnus, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, well, it's really at the liberty of the galleries whether or not they want to display the prices. I think it's one of the interesting developments, really, since these platforms have started emerging over the last few months, that people are getting much more willing to divulge the prices. There's a lot more price transparency, and I think that's something that's really been helping with sales. And certainly I think it's been very interesting from my point of view. There's been some surprises there that things that I thought were out of my reach, might be within my reach. I think it's great also to be able to see that there's such a variety of price points, really from a few $1,000 US up to very high prices indeed. So I think that there's something there for every pocket. We'll continue to take questions throughout, but I think what we're going to do now is Robin is going to take you through some of the highlights. First of all, he'll take you through some of the highlights of the Taiwanese artists in English for our English-speaking audience. And then after that, he'll take you through some of the highlights more broadly in Chinese, really for our try and foster the connections for our overseas galleries and in Chinese. So Robin, I'll just hand over to you now to go over some of the highlights.
Great, thank you. So as Magnus said, we're going to first talk about a few Taiwanese artists, but then also a few Taiwanese galleries bringing other work. We'll do that part in English, and then we'll switch over to Chinese when we do it the other way around and talk about international artists here. So first, let's pull up Chinese Gallery. What you'll see, the way that we're searching this here, you can kind of punch in any gallery or artist name that you're looking for there in the search bar, and then you'll be taken to it instantly. Chini brought Huo Gang, who's a really fascinating, very senior artist in Taiwan, who works in a very poetic way, but also a very geometric way. It was really cool for me to see White Cube had brought some work from Al Hell, and to look at those two together, I think was really fascinating. Chini is a gallery in Taipei. They're in the Dajinihu district. Brought a lot of Hokan's work to Taipei Dangdai in 2019. And so it's really nice to see some fresh work available here as well. There's we were talking about this a little bit in our social media posts, that there's some kind of very light and youthful energy about his abstraction. It's a compositional energy that I think is really rare for an artist of that stature and seniority, but who's still working today. And with that, let's switch to a younger artist. Can we pull up Kalos? And this is a presentation I'm really excited about because it extends something of what the gallery brought to Taipei Dangdai this year in 2020 with the sculptural work further down. Yeah. So if you're at the fair, you may recall these works from Xu Ruijian. They're extremely light in space, and I'm really glad that we get to see them online here, because in an art fair, I think they were quite well received for people who were looking at them, but if you were walking by, they would be totally drowned out. They're just so almost floating in space, and against a white wall, it's super elegant, but you need to kind of see it in a much quieter environment to appreciate. He's a very young artist, born in the early 90s, has a very specific sculptural approach. I think it's almost classical in the way that you see this kind of sophisticated balancing of light, space, and especially negative space. He also has a gallery show opening in Taipei this weekend, I believe. I'm really excited to go check that out. And let's take a look at Mindset Art Center. And Mindset during Taipei Dangdai had a group show at the booth that was celebrating their 10th anniversary of the gallery, which is really impressive. I wanted to point out this painter here that we're looking at, Dan Ruohong, who is a Taiwanese painter, studio outside of Taipei. Had a solo exhibition on at the Taipei Fine Arts Museum last fall. I don't think it overlapped with the fair. But he's someone who is really exciting for me because he's taking a very, call it ambitious or masculine approach to kind of historical narrative. It reminds me of history painting and this genre, particularly of mainland Chinese painters who are kind of really interested in engaging with our history and about kind of making their mark on that wall. But he does it in a way that I find much more engaged in the actual storytelling. There's a kind of fairy tale aspect to it all, but it also comes down to very real life stories, or kind of stories about the people and figures around him, whether it's coming out of a book or if it's an animal or a figure that's in a part of everyday life. And he'll be on one of our live streams about pathos later on next week, which I'm really looking forward to. He'll be alongside Zhao Gang and Anselm Kiefer, not Anselm Kiefer himself, but someone talking about Anselm Kiefer. So I'm really excited about teasing out some of the commonalities in their work. Let's look at TKG Plus. You like my Taiwanese black bear? I just realized I should have kept the bear side to myself. TKG Plus has a few interesting artists they're showing here. One, Kong Chun-hei Ah-hei, is a young Hong Kong artist who's showing at the gallery now. I'm not sure if the exhibition is open to the public now, but I believe they'll be live streaming it during our humor program later on next week. But today, the one I wanted to point out was Rao Jiaen, who is a Taiwanese artist. Right down at the bottom there, yeah. These pieces are absolutely fantastic. It's basically a sculpture, and on top you have stained glass. The bottom part is essentially the crate, the shipping crate that the object is shipped in. And then the middle part is kind of a plinth. It's sort of the body of the sculpture. And then the stained glass on top is kind of conceptualized as the helmet. And in this series, there are two different cultural figures who are kind of combined together to make each piece. Who are we looking at for this one? It's I don't know that one actually, but there's one of them that was using a German literary figure and a Japanese cultural historian, and kind of making these very specific contrasts and kind of trying to create a personality in an architectural space based on these sometimes quite obscure cultural references. So let's take a look at maybe just one more here. Could you, Hanart? So Hanart has a few really interesting positions that they're bringing here. One is Louis Chan, a very senior Hong Kong artist who's really important. And then the one that we wanted to point out now is Ye Shixiang, who's a late and great Taiwanese painter. He was featured in Hanart's booth at the fair this year. It was actually Ye Shixiang and Ye Weili. So Ye Weili is a younger artist who's been living in Ye Shixiang's former home and had built these incredible handmade frames for some of Ye Shixiang's paintings. I'm really excited to see that there's still kind of work that's actively available, because I know that booth was incredibly popular during the fair. So it's great to see that there's still a quite wide range of really strong paintings to take a look at here. My favorite that I've been using, I tried to put it up as my Zoom background today, but it couldn't get it to work, was the green one with the owl in the middle at the bottom there. So I think that wraps up the introduction to Taiwanese highlights. We've got a couple questions that have come in the meantime. Do you want to field those, Magnus, before we move into introducing some other highlights?
I think there's one question, which is, what do we think about the future of the virtual art fair? I think that we're very keen to try and help to use digital tools to keep conversations going and to help to communicate some of the great things that are taking place, both during the fair and in between fairs. I think, though, that still nothing can really substitute the experience of seeing work in person, either at the galleries or at an art fair. So I'm not sure that the virtual art fair is going to become a replacement in any way for the experience of engaging with art firsthand. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Robin.
I would agree. I think that what we want to do with Taipei Connections is very much not about replacing a fair. It's much more about augmenting and keeping the fair happening throughout the year. I think we're past the stage where an art fair as an organization can be a one-time pop-up event. I think we need to be kind of an organization, an institution that's engaging with our clientele, with our galleries, with collectors, and with the rest of the art world on a year-round basis, both online and offline. And honestly, I think we would have been doing a lot more offline this spring and summer if we weren't in the situation that we're in now. In the midst of where we are, I think we're just trying everything we can to figure out how to make these connections. And I think the next step after Taipei Connections is to really kind of push the ideas forum side of what we do, and to kind of use our digital platforms to make sure that the curators and artists are also getting exposure on the non-market side of things.
Great. I think there's one unanswered question, and I can't see it now. But when will the live stream program go live on the website?
So the live stream program is on the website now. If there are any further additions to that, they will be updated as we go. But the URL is www.taipei-dangdai.com/taipei-connections/.
Great. So do you want to move on to the highlights in Chinese for our Taiwanese participants? Thank you.
Let's see, why don't we pull up 我想先介绍的是一些有待西方或者是台湾以外的艺术家，但是亚洲的画廊所以我们从HDM 开始吧。这我觉得作为一个博览会是一个特别有趣的地方，就是我们会有当然西方画廊的西方艺术家也有，亚洲画廊的亚洲艺术家也有，但是还有一种跨文化的市场方面的交流就是说有一些台湾的画廊，他们也会带来他们所代理的西方的艺术家同时西方画廊也会开始代理亚洲的艺术家这个现象是特别健康的，这个就会让这些艺术家更方便的能够走出来，走到世界的平台上。那我们现在看的是北京的 HDM 画廊Christopher Orr 的一些蛮小的绘画，这可以打开那个现场观看 view the scale 就会看到它的实际的尺寸。这个他们在台北当代期间给我们带了一个个人展艺，一个 solo 的呈现。效果是蛮好的，但我觉得正好是这种作品是最适合在要先在线上看，你可以看到细节，然后看到细节后，你就一定要在现场去看。但在博览会观看的话，会感觉没有那个力气有时候是光太白，或者是噪音太多，就没有办法投入这个绘画的心态。我们再换一个，我们看Over the Influence。Over the Influence，这家香港画廊，它是从香港开始，后来开到洛杉矶去的。我觉得这种画廊也是特别有趣的，因为它就是一开就是要进去他自己的领域的最高的一个层次。他今年带了一个艺术家是 Josh Reams。Josh Reams 这张画今年刚刚画完的，我特别喜欢看到这种2020年就这几个月，可能是在居家隔离的时候就画完的，然后拍照片给我们上传的。不知道这个作品到底能够什么时候出来参加展览。这个艺术家可以说是当红艺术家吧，现在这种绘画的语言就有点数码的感觉，就特别流行。同时他是去年有一段时间想买根本买不到所以我们能够在这里线上看到，我觉得特别开心的。然后下面我想跳到Massimo De Carlo。刚才我们说这些亚洲画廊代理西方艺术家现在我们说西方画廊在亚洲有空间，然后代理我们本地的或者亚洲的艺术家。这个是MDC 他代理有2年时间吧，一个中国的画家吕松，他也会参加我们那场有关 pathos 的绘画。他这些作品里面有一种黑暗的感觉吧，黑暗的魅力可以说是。他之前有一些更具象的， 觉得这个系列可以说更出色吧。它正好是在抽象具象之间，用一些植物的局部的形式，来探索绘画本身的一些性质。这个可以看看我们的直播的那个时间列表，我觉得让他自己讲讲这个作品，他背后的一些想法，应该会特别有趣。然后我们看一下新加坡 Yabuz。刚才说到 Josh Reams 这种当红的艺术家，这个艺术家 Alvin Ong 新加坡人，可以说是亚洲本地的类似的状态的艺术家。这次也不是他带的全都是他的作品，他也是刚刚做完了一个线下的个展，听说是作品都抢不到那种状态。我觉得他在这里看有意思的是，它正好符合了我们一种在荧幕上看作品的习惯吧，就是它的颜色、它的质感，就是特别适合这种观看的模式。同时它很多这些画都是按照隔离或者是疫情期间的一些情况去画的。它好几张就是两个人困在一起，或者是一个人是想触及到另外一个人，但是触及不到。很多都是拿着手机在手上，或者是看着电脑上的 Netflix， 对，这个就叫做 quarantine。这个也是我们这次我觉得一个特别有意思的地方，就是许多作品都是很新的，然后都是跟现在世界的状态有密切的关系。我们刚才看了一阵子雅纪那边，它也是由赵刚的那张标题叫做 Coronavirus Number One， 然后我觉得这个作为收藏家，我觉得这个特别有趣，就可以见证历史的这一刻，然后让自己的收藏也有一定的历史、世界历史或者世界美术史的代表性。我们再看一下ROPAC。我刚才看的就是一些比较年轻的，现在给你们介绍几个大师。我觉得在大画廊当中，ROPAC 这次带来的作品的范围可能是最广的还有一些高古轩带的也是特别有意思的。他有一个 Sarah Z 的作品呢，他只有2个艺术家，所以更聚焦这2个艺术家。ROPAC 这边，他就是什么都有然后他什么都有，质量都特别高这些作品都是很棒的。然后它价钱没有写上，所以这个大家有兴趣就得自己去 click to connect 然后追问。但它有好几个我觉得都值得介绍，一个是 Anson Kiefer，Kiefer 这张11年画的吧，然后是蛮大的一张，这个可以点进去看它的click to scale。所以我们刚才看到 fan hole 的那个小小的，才50公分高，才10公分宽。Anson Kiefer 这个太大了，它超越了我们能够 view to scale 的限制。哎，这个还真的有点好玩原来网上的博览会也有尺寸的限制，好吧。我们再退出看看 Alex Katz 那件作品。Katz 这个应该也是很新的，2020年的。这个系列我没有见过，没有见过他画这种2个画面一个上下并在一起。我觉得这个也是很有意思的，可能是借这种机会来做一些新的试验。但是同时我觉得这个作品的画面的质感就特别像他更早一些的作品，我觉得很像是80年代初那会儿的作品，不是特别像他最近的，他没有那么明确的感觉而且他这个女生的眼光就是有一种莫名其妙的忧伤感吧，很适合现在的状态。然后还有一个是 Jules de Ballancourt，Jules de Ballancourt 是 ROPAC 带领的一个比较相对年轻的艺术家。 也是一个新作品所以我觉得这次真的是收藏的机会真的不少。这艺术家画的大概都是这种大的，可以说是风景画，但就是容纳一整座城市或者是海港，这种题材。然后我想时间差不多了，我们先跳到Kamal Manor。Kamal Manor 我想特别介绍，因为这家画廊的美感就是特别强，而且我觉得它跟台湾的市场的口味应该是有一个很直接的关联但他在台北当代2020年他第一次参加，他带来的都是一些比较大师级别的作品，有Anish Kapoor好几个但他这个画廊其实是一个很多元化的然后我想特别指出他带的2个比较年轻的画家艺术家，一个是Matthew Lutzkinoy， 看一下右边这个。Matthew Lutzkinoy 有2件作品，这个艺术家他也算是我们熟悉的后黄落一代吧。然后他是做表演，他的表演，他的绘画，你要是一下子看到，可能有点对不上号但我觉得值得研究一下现在看他这张画，然后再去搜他做过的这些行为艺术然后想想他们可以怎么样放在一起，是一个很好玩的事情。另外是Neil Balufa，Neil Balufa 是一个法国的艺术家。跟亚洲的互动也是蛮多的，他做过好几次香港、上海比较大型的展览。他这个也是可以说是后网络相关的，他用科技用一些像荧幕比较电子相关的媒介然后他会再加上一种绘画的手感。它雕塑、绘画、装置还有录像全都有。这个好像里面没有录像的，我建议可以搜一下 YouTube 上看到他的一些录像的作品，会很有意思的。还有一个想介绍的 Marguerite Schneider， 最后一个。Marguerite Schneider， 他这次带来的也是我们现在所想强调的，就是比较安静一点的作品。然后它下面有2件 Payweight， 看一下 Payweight 的作品。Payweight 是一个洛杉矶的用牵丝牵线为主的艺术家。他这次带的好像都是去年做的一些 Tapestry 这种性质。它也是这种做很大型的利用空间有一点自拍环境的那种个展，但同时它有一些更可以收藏的作品，就比较类似这个。然后这些我建议就用这个 View Close Up 的功能来看，因为它的细节，它表面上的细节特别多，特别精细。这个有时候你在现场根本就是不能那么近，但是我们现在可以网上把它放得很大这样是到时候有机会看到他现场的作品，就会更有收获感。我们现在表现一下我们这个科技能够做到的。好，那作品我想介绍就差不多这些吧如果大家有什么具体的问题，关于哪家画廊或是哪个艺术家欢迎跟我们说或者是直接找画廊 Click to Connect 都可以So I see we've got a couple other questions that have come in now. Before we conclude, shall we answer these?
Sure.
I'll give you the first one, Magnus. Will Taipei Dangdai connect online and offline more often in the future?
Yes, it's our plan really to try and integrate digital into our activities more widely, just so that we can engage more proactively with our audiences and really, as we mentioned earlier, to help foster these connections. I think that this will also be particularly important into the lead up to the live fairs, to be able to share some of the content highlights, and also to perhaps have seminars for those that aren't so aren't so experienced in terms of collecting, to be able to help them to navigate how to collect it, etc. So I think that there'll be a number of initiatives that we'll be doing over the coming months.
Thank you.
And then there's a second question. Can I require more works if I'm interested in a particular artist? Robin, do you want to handle that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything is meant as a conversation. The platform is here just to kick things off. You're more than welcome to be in touch directly with the gallery. Galleries are happy to share information. There's a lot of information that can't be squeezed into these pages. So they will for sure be happy to send other available works or background works if you just want to get a feel for the artist. Of course, we also have our VIP team online here. If there's anything that we can do to help facilitate communication with galleries, feel free to give us a call, send an email, or join us in any of these live situations. And Summer and her team are at your service, translation, negotiation, whatever else you might need.
Great. Well, thank you everybody for participating in this first of our live streams. It would be great. Please do give us any feedback on how we might be able to improve things. This is something that we're learning as we're going along. So please do send us through any feedback that you have. That would be hugely appreciated. And we very much hope that you'll enjoy exploring the platform over the coming days. And also we look forward to seeing you at the first of our live stream events on Saturday at 5:30 Taipei time, with a walkthrough of Owen Worm's exhibition 1 Minute at Taipei, 1 Minute in Taipei rather, at the Taipei Fine Arts Museum, accompanied by the artist himself, Jerome Sands, the curator, and with Shasha Titman from Lehman Maupin Gallery. In the meantime, enjoy the platform, and thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I see a couple people have their hands up. Do you want to say something? Feel free to send over if there's something that you'd like to add. Otherwise, I'll just take it as a kind of high five, I guess. Oh, yeah. Xavier, thanks for sharing. So Xavier from Sunway Express, the official art logistics partner of Taipei Dangdai. I'd just like to share if anyone has any transportation issues, things that need to be resolved related to Taipei Connections or not, please feel free to be in touch, and they'll be able to figure out what the timeline is for making those things happen. Thank you, Xavier.
Yeah, thank you, Xavier. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Thank you.
Thanks, goodbye, enjoy it.
Cheers, bye.